Stan Gibilisco here to describe the operation and functioning of a very simple device that you have encountered probably every day when somebody presses the button next to your door that rings your doorbell. It's called a chime, and it is illustrated and its operation described to some extent in my book, Teach Yourself Electricity and Electronics, 6th edition, published in June of 2016 by yours truly and Simon Monk, who contributed chapters on the Arduino device and microcontrollers in general. But what I'm here to describe right now is something called a chime. That's right, a plain, simple chime. How does such a thing work? Did you ever wonder that? Well, no, you probably never did. It's almost as if somebody took a little hammer and rang a little bell up above one of the doors in your house. But what it really is an electronic device which comprises an electromagnet with a hollow core. Normally, there is no current in the coil of the electromagnet, and this rod, this metallic rod, which passes through the core, rests on the plastic base plate like this. This is just a basic example of the configuration of this kind of device. When you suddenly apply a current, a direct current to this coil, if it's in the right direction, it'll pull this metal rod called the hammer violently upward. So violently, in fact, that it will continue on past the center of the core right here, which is a ferromagnetic core, something like you would find in an electromagnet. The current pulse then stops, but the hammer's momentum carries it on up to a steel plate, which it strikes and creates the gong or ding that you hear, sometimes to your great annoyance. And that's your doorbell, or part of your doorbell. Sometimes a doorbell just has one of these devices, sometimes two or even three. So you might get two of different size with different size steel plates, so it'll go ding dong, and the current pulses occur in a sequence such that the ding is provided by one pulse and the dong by the second pulse. Ideally, the pulse should last just long enough so that when this hammer, which is just as long as the core passing through its central hole here, when that hammer is exactly aligned with the core, the current pulse stops so that it won't continue to try to hold the hammer in place and thereby allow the maximum opportunity for the momentum of the hammer, which should be a heavy metal device, solid steel or solid, well, not iron usually, solid steel rod, and the plate shouldn't be too far up above it, so it has sufficient so it's within sufficient range that it'll strike that thing. You can probably imagine. The thing goes ding, and then the current has stopped, so the hammer falls back down to the plastic plate. Then, if you want to have a dong, you just have a bigger one of these, and you repeat the pulse a fraction of a second later in the second coil. So, first coil goes ding, the second coil goes dong, and you have yourself a perfect description of Stan Gibilisco. Signing off for now. Once again, this is from Chapter 8, Figure 8-5 in my book, Teach Yourself Electricity and Electronics, 6th edition. You'll find it on Amazon. I've co-authored it with Simon Monk, who has made a very great contribution by adding material on the Arduino device and microcontrollers in general. If you can find a books and mortar bookstore, Good luck to you. It might be right in there. And if it isn't, you can probably order it from that store. Ding dong, Stan Gibilisco. Signing off. Until next time, so long.